Hey everyone, welcome back to the What Mariel Made podcast. My name's Mariel. I'm a maker and a knitter based out of Northern California, where I live with my husband and our dog Wally. You can find me on Instagram and on Ravelry at What Mariel Made for more real-time updates. And yeah, that's about it. It's still October. Happy end of October. Wherever you are, I hope you're having a great start, or you're entering I guess for us folks in the Northern Hemisphere, that you're having a great autumnal season. Where I live, it's kind of been like dipping in and out of like the autumnal weather, like true autumnal weather for where we live. In California, it's been like pretty warm. I think it's been pretty warm kind of across everywhere, but anyway, I digress. And yeah, I'm just gonna jump into everything. First of all, what I'm wearing, which is also my most exciting finished object, is my Puro Cardigan. This is a cardigan by Rui Yamamuro, and this is probably one of like the quickest, like larger garments I've finished ever. And I just love it so much. It's using my, like a dream yarn that I've been wanting to use for a while. Noro Madara in the color Sake, number 1. And also I held it together with Drops Brushed Alpaca Silk in the color 1, Off-White. And I met gauge, I made size 1. And this project was so addicting and worked up so fast, and post-block, the fit I'm like in love with. And I already want to cast on another one, and I just might. So yeah, I just wanted to kind of go over quickly like the modifications of everything too that I did. I didn't modify too much, but I did watch the video by, I believe her name is Cindy. She has a podcast here on YouTube, and she did a making vlog all about the Puro cardigan, but only used the Noro Madara yarn. So I referred to her kind of process and like kind of her notes on the finished object, to inform the modifications I wanted to make. So here we go. So first of all, for the like general like body and everything for size 1, I didn't make any modifications when it came to like just doing the like raglan increases. I followed everything to pattern, basically up until I got to knitting the body, which I made size 1, and I actually ended up knitting probably like 1.5 to 2 inches a bit longer before starting the ribbing. So if I stand up, yeah, so I probably knit like this much extra of just like normal body stockinette before doing this like thicker ribbing. And yeah, I really like where it hits. It hits me right kind of at my hip bone, and I just personally like that fit. And then I also shortened the sleeves because I definitely have shorter limbs in general, and I end up shortening sleeves, but I did 2 less decreases than stated in the pattern. And then I also made my sleeve cuffs a little shorter as well. I don't know actually how many centimeters this is, but I ended up doing only 13 rounds of ribbing for the sleeve cuffs before doing the like two setup rows for tubular bind off. So those are the only modifications I made in terms of like structure for the pattern. And then for the button band, I still did a double knit button band, but instead of following the directions in the pattern, which I was like skimming over them before starting the button band, and I already saw that the pattern designer has you like cut the yarn and you'll end up with a lot of ends to weave in, and I had experienced that previously on a different project like more recently, and I was like, I am not doing this again. But on that video, some of y'all had commented that Florence Miller, also here on YouTube, has a really great tutorial on her step-by-step cardigan as to how to make a double knit button band with no ends to weave in for the buttonholes. So I followed her pattern instructions and method for doing a double knit button band like to a T, because I think like even the type of yarn, she ended up doing it with Neuromadara too. Like the stitch counts were similar and the type of yarn she was using was similar, so it kind of was like a seamless kind of way to sub her method in for this cardigan. So I highly recommend that. It was super easy to follow along, and I ended up doing the button band before finishing the sleeves because in my mind I don't mind doing sleeves as much, and I'd rather have the sleeves to finish at the very end rather than a button band. And I stand by that. So yeah, really enjoyed the button band construction and that there were no extra ends to weave in. And Florence is a great teacher and taught it well. So those are all the modifications I made. The buttons I used, let me show you up close real quick. I don't know if you can see, but these are beautiful, like gray mother of pearl buttons. And I got these from Amazon because I was in a pinch and I was like dying to finish this cardigan. And so I found these buttons. These are 15 millimeter buttons. They are like ever so slightly too small, but they still work. And like once I have them situated in the buttonholes themselves, they're not, they don't like fall out or pop open or anything like that. And I usually have something on underneath, so it's like not the biggest deal. But yeah, love these 15 millimeter buttons. I ended up doing 4. And they're about 2.5 or 2 inches maybe between each button. And then the yarn I used to sew it in matches the button more. I just used like an extra gray, darker gray yarn so that the buttons themselves wouldn't stick out too much. But yeah, I love the effect that they give. It's kind of subtle interest, but it doesn't take too much away from the cardigan and like the yarn itself. I'm just in love with this combo. Noro, Madara, and Sake did not disappoint whatsoever. I love it so much. And post block, the drape on this is crazy and I love it. And before I blocked it, I actually was having some like potential like like regrettable moments. I was like, oh no, is this gonna block out? Is it gonna like have the fit that I want? Should I have made a different pattern? But thankfully, as always, blocking did its magic and it's like my perfect cardigan. And for where I live too, it's like not that cold or it doesn't get that cold, so I think I'll be able to wear this for like throughout the winter, potentially as just like an outermost layer with like layering things underneath. So I'm so excited to wear it more. I did want to say for the amounts that I used, again, I made size 1, and with the like modifications of lengthening the body ever so slightly and then shortening the sleeves ever so slightly, I ended up using exactly 4 skeins of the Neuromadara. So that's 400 grams total, and that includes the swatch, which I do have with whatever I used in the swatch and everything I used in the cardigan, including like, you know, this is ends and all, 400 grams exactly is what I used. And then for the drops brushed alpaca silk, I was using yarn that I had in stash, and I was like getting really nervous towards the end of this that I wouldn't have enough of the alpaca silk and then I would have to wait and order some more, but I had exactly 6 balls and each of those balls is 25 grams, so I had 150 grams, right? At 150 grams total, and I still have a lot left over of the 6th ball, but I did break into it. So if you plan on making this cardigan with the same yarn makeup, I still would recommend using or getting 6 balls of the brushed alpaca silk. So yeah, just keep that in mind. But I love it. It does shed a bit because it does have like pretty high alpaca content. That brushed alpaca silk is, you know, it's living up to its name, but oh my god, I'm in love. And I'm sweating because it's kind of hot right now too, but I'm gonna just keep this on because I love it that much. All right, so that is the first finished object. I only have one other finished object, which was kind of a last minute like cast on, and but I knew it would be quick, and it's like a semi test knit, but not really. I think I didn't end up like making it in time for the test knit like deadline, but the my fellow knitting friend and the pattern designer kindly gifted me this pattern just to kind of test it out in my own time. And it is the Bogue Bonnet right here, designed by my friend Thomasine, and I'll put her handle on this screen. I'm not exactly sure how to say it, so I'm not going to attempt to butcher it. So yeah, but it's a really simple bonnet pattern. Super cute, super easy and quick to knit up. The only, I guess, like the hardest things to do if you're a beginner is maybe learning how to like pick up stitches if you haven't done that a lot, and then doing I-cord, like doing I-cord ties if you haven't done those for, that would be a newer skill to learn, but for the most part, this is like a really easy knit, and I feel like you could easily get this done in like a weekend, and like for a gift knit if you needed like a quick gift knit. And it's a great stash buster project. So this whole bonnet, including the ends before I cut them off after I wove them in, the amount of yarn I used was like 23.9 grams. So, and in the pattern it states that you only need 25 grams. You should be able to make this bonnet, which I totally agree. I'll put in a photo of me wearing it. I'm just like really sweaty right now, so I don't want to put it on. But it is like a little small for my big head. I did mess up and miscounted how many rows of ribbing I'm supposed to do for like the face framing ribbing. So I feel like if I had just like paid a little more attention and made that a little longer, or just like added a few extra rows of the stockinette, if I make this again, it would fit a little less snug. It still fits though, so that's totally fine, but I also think this would fit like perfectly fine on like a child and would look really cute and would like cover their whole, like most of their head and like leave a little opening for their face. So I think I'm just gonna like save this too for hopefully future children that I have, or future nieces and nephews. But yeah, I wanted to make it in this like beautiful poppy red color. This is just yarn I had in my stash. This is Cascade Heritage sock yarn in Christmas red, just a classic kind of neutral red. Thanks for the pattern, Thomasine. It's beautiful, easy to follow. It's like pretty seamless all around. She's made some really beautiful versions in like stripes and different colors, and I'm so inspired, and I want to definitely continue to kind of like make more of these. And I think I will also adjust the sizing to make some for like friends' babies, as my friends have babies maybe. So yeah, highly recommend this pattern. But yeah, that is my only other finished object. Okay, works in progress are gonna be pretty I'm only gonna mention a couple because I have not worked on my Stella quilt cushion because I was so focused on the Puro cardigan, so I'll show that to you when I am like closer to getting done on that. I did get a bit done on the Maize Socks that I've showed in the past. So I finished one sock like literally this morning. It's not blocked yet, so wait for that transformation later, but one of the socks is done and the other sock is almost done. I just need to finish the foot and the toe and then block these. And these will be ready. But yeah, they look so funny and like just crumpled up right now. But I love the color. Can't wait to wear them. Yeah, and details for all of these things are on my Ravelry. Have all the notes and everything written out per normal. So that is the first work in progress. My second work in progress is my Northland sweater, which I had said previously was kind of on ice. But I brought this guy out again because it's a really great kind of stockinette, endless stockinette in the round project for when I want to just like, not really focus on too much else. So I got just a few, maybe like an inch or two extra done on the body. And I have some 12-inch circulars coming in soon for the sleeves because, yeah, I've been converted. I think 12-inch circulars are just the way to go for sleeves in my world these days. So that is the Northland Sweater by Petite Knit. And that's it for like all the knitting. It's actually been, yeah, this is going to be a quick podcast in terms of like the projects I talk about. But I did have some exciting acquisitions and stories about how these acquisitions came about. And then I have like one random plan to talk about. And then I have a lot of media faves. So, like random faves. So, acquisitions wise, let me start by saying, if you follow me on Instagram, you know that I attended an event called Knitter Dinner, local to me here in the Bay Area. Started by a knitting influencer, maker influencer in the Bay named Kalina, who I've mentioned before on my podcast. She's just a cool gal. She sews, she knits, she does like Sushko embroidery. She's just like a cool person, cool maker. And she has definitely like seen like a need for more community in the part of the Bay Area where I live in for knitters specifically, and started this event called Knitter Dinner. And so the first one ever was held this past Thursday. It was held at this really beautiful, like smaller restaurant. There were a group of about 18 of us who came out, and it was just like a really beautiful time of connection and knitting and geeking out over the same things and just feeling like we found our people. So yeah, it was a really great evening, and I think sparked a lot of really great energy and inspiration to continue connecting with people. So yeah, hopefully that kind of continues to gain momentum, and I think there will definitely be more knitter dinners in the future, and I would love to attend them. So yeah, but part of the knitter dinner is that, you know, there's like dinner served, but Kalina also was like so generous and sewed all of us like a little project bag, and in the project bag were some goodies. So I'll show you those goodies too, but also there was a separate like yarn and notions, like crafting supplies, knitting supplies swap happening. So if you had any like leftover yarn or things you wanted to de-stash or like find a better home, a new home for, you could bring those. And then you could also just take whatever you wanted as well. So I ended up bringing some like old cotton yarns that I don't really use or saw a future need for, and brought them over. You also didn't need to bring anything in order to take anything, but I ended up bringing back 3 skeins of this yarn that Kalina actually had contributed to the yarn swap bin. And it's very soft. It is technically a sock yarn. It's from the brand Kramer Yarns, and it's called the Sock and Sock. And it's 44% cotton, 43% acrylic, and 13% nylon. And the color First Tooth, which is it's a really cute name. But yeah, I got 3 skeins of this, and I was drawn to it because I just love how soft the texture was, and I thought it would be great for either like warmer weather knits and or making some like baby knits, since it's like definitely going to be super like machine washable friendly and everything like that. So that was the one kind of thing I pulled from the yarn swap. And then in terms of like everything else, this is the bag that Kalina like made for us. So sweet. Yeah, I love this. So thank you, Kalina. All right, so let's see. The first goodie here is bread and butter yarn, grown and dyed and spun in the US, which is exciting. This is the everyday 100% US merino yarn. I would say it's like a solid worsted weight, 200 yards per 100 grams, and the color is minnows. It's so soft. It's so soft. I'm gonna have to make like a hat out of this or something. And then there were 2 skeins of this Woolfolk Flet yarn in the color 22. I think each of these is 50 grams, so we got 100 grams total. And it's like a boucle, I think. Boucle, it's like a squiggly, squidgy yarn. In this beautiful, like, mousy brown color. It's coming up a little warmer on camera, but in real life it's a little more like gray, cool toned. This would be really cute for like I think like a knitted like animal, like stuffy or something like that. So stay tuned for something there. And then there was this little sample from Pearl Soho of their Super Baby Alpaca. In the color Fresh Fig. It's just like a gorgeous plummy purple color. Beautiful. Would be great in some color work, maybe like a little color work hat or something. And then, not yarn, but another thoughtful thing were colorful triangle stitch markers from the brand Coco Knits, which I've been a fan of and have been wanting to try, like literally anything from them. And it comes in this like cute little box. And I only have like removable stitch markers, so it'll be my first time like working with like non-removable. So you're gonna have to like be careful with these, or else I'm gonna have to like cut it out of my knitting if I'm not careful. But yeah, the bag is super pretty. It's giving like the Merit Beauty bag, if you know what I'm talking about. Because this outside, or this fabric is also like a navy corduroy. And then the inside is this beautiful like block printed fabric. Again, just, of course, Kalina would do this. She goes above and beyond. Amazing. So yeah, those are the acquisitions. And that's it in terms of acquisitions. For plans, I have a bunch of yarn back here, but I'm thinking right now, I've been wanting to use these 2 yarns, which are, these are, what is this? This is just fisherman's wool that I've had in stash. Some of it is left over from previous projects, and then this darker brown one is actually, I recently frogged a slip over, like a vest that I made last year or earlier this year that I just wasn't getting use out of because it was like just the wrong yarn. It was like too scratchy, and it had this like really big beautiful turtleneck, but I just like couldn't tolerate it. So I think this would definitely be better suited as like an outerwear cardigan jacket vibe. And I think I have enough yarn of both of these to do like a striped something with them. Maybe a striped Puro cardigan, or just like, I don't know, we'll see. But I also brought out some other yarns in my stash. I brought out some other yarns in my stash that I have at like a similar gauge, like a worsted gauge. Some of this is like leftover from like color work projects and things like that. So I'm like playing with the idea of doing something slightly more colorful. But again, we'll see. And cardigans are definitely the way to go. Even though I love a pullover, like I need to be able to like air myself out and wear cardigans everywhere. So actually, with that being said, I'm gonna undo this cardigan because I need some airflow. Media and random faves. So, this one YouTuber, she's not like a knitting YouTuber. She's just like a generic like lifestyle YouTuber, and you probably know her. It's Caroline McQuistin. She lives in the Isle of Skye with her partner and her dog Nuala. And it's just like peak cozy cottage vibes. Like, I love her videos, and I save them and I hoard them to watch when I, want to feel really cozy or I just love her videos. So if you haven't known of her already, which I feel like she's gaining more traction now, but she has just such lovely videos. She seems like a really lovely person, and yeah, go check out Caroline's channel if you haven't yet. And then another random favorite is a food favorite, and it is chicken pot pie, baby. And like freezer meals, or like preparing meals, cozy meals, especially as the weather gets a little cooler. And you just want to like dig into some like stews, pot pies, yummy, yummy, hearty, like savory things. So, and I was inspired by this Instagram account that like focuses on like freezer meals and prep for freezer meals. I don't know why it like took hold of me recently, but I've been like, oh, I must make freezer meals. I must like meals that I can then put in the freezer. But chicken pot pie was like a big inspiration, and I just kind of freestyled a filling with a bunch of like rotisserie chicken we had left over from Costco. But for the pie crust, I use the Alexandra Kitchen recipe. She's like my go-to for most like bread related recipes, like doughy recipes. And instead of just like kind of rolling it out and then putting the whole thing over the filling in like whatever pot or pan or baking dish that I had ready for it, I ended up just rolling it out, and I have these like random little cookie cutters that I like probably bought at like the dollar section at Michael's like many years ago. But I thought like, oh, maybe I'll just like go ahead and like roll out the dough, cut out a bunch of shapes, and then just put that on top, because I was inspired again by that Instagram to like have smaller pieces of pie dough at the top, just to make it easier for serving and eating. And then also like you can just freeze all of the dough pieces separately, so that when you're ready to heat up or like make a pot pie or anything like later down the line, you can just like take out the filling, plop it in wherever you need it to be, and then just put a bunch of the like dough pieces on top, instead of having to like thaw the dough, roll it out, do all that stuff. So, and it's just fun and it looks cute. And my husband likes that it creates more like crispy little edges that, kind of crisp up in the oven. So recommend doing that if you just need a little more fun in your pot pie life. I'm hoping to also do like a shepherd's or cottage pie. We have ground beef and a little bit of ground lamb, so I think I'm gonna like mix them and make like a shepherd cottage pie situation, with some mashed potatoes on top. So I will report back on that. But again, follow me on Instagram, because I also post about like random food things I make there. Media that I'm looking forward to consuming soon is The Diplomat. The next season of The Diplomat comes out on Netflix like this coming Thursday. And I'm so excited, because I feel like as soon as the first season ended, I was like, oh my gosh, like what is happening? And I didn't know if there was going to be another season yet, so I was like at the edge of my seat. But that's coming out already. Bad Sisters season 2 also is coming out shortly. And then any Love is Blind folks in the house. Love is Blind USA reunion is this week, so we'll see how juicy that gets. But aside from that, I also wanted to just shout out one last time the knit-along that I'm hosting with my friend Erica Taylor Creative here on YouTube and Instagram. All about making your dream knit. Again, you don't need to finish your knit. I clearly haven't finished my Stella quilt cushion, but just cast it on. Follow us both on Instagram. Make a post using the hashtag Wooliest Dreams Cal. And Erica and I already have like a date kind of set. Halloween. We're going to have a call together on Halloween and choose the winner randomly then. And then we'll be announcing it on Instagram. So make sure you're following us there. But yeah, I think that's it. I hope you're having a good rest of your day wherever you are in your week. But yeah, I hope you're having also a good kind of knitty season, especially as hopefully the weather's cooling down wherever you are. If it's warming up, hopefully you're still getting, some good knitting time in. And I'm losing my voice and I need to drink some water. So I'm gonna wrap this up. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye everyone.